Hi everyone, Gaijin Goomba here, and in the spirit of Mega May, I wanted to get all dressed up and talk about my favorite game and my favorite robot master, Napalm Man. As much as I love him, he's kind of had a dark history with South Asia. In fact, it's theorized that Mega Man 5 never released in Vietnam because Napalm Man's level was too similarly designed to look like part of the Viet Cong tunnels during the war, and the name Napalm Man, well, let's just say it stirs some pretty grim memories. But is it true? Is Napalm Man's level a reflection of terrible wartime history? Let's find out. The first things you see in this level are wind-blown palm trees and these enemies called Sumatrans. And right off the bat, we're looking at some pretty specific parallels. These palm trees bear a striking resemblance to the palm trees notably found in the Mekong Delta, housing many of Vietnam's impressive floating markets. As for the Sumatrans, there's no denying its real-world counterpart, the Sumatran tiger, a rare and incredibly endangered species that lives off the Isle of Sumatran, just south of Vietnam. And when I say endangered species, I mean there's maybe 600 of them left. But let's branch out a little and take a look at the level as a whole. You're going in and out of tunnelways through some really narrow openings in places, and look at all these traps. Tons of spikes, even some camouflaged. There's proxy traps all over the place in the larger caves. There's that giant one-hit kill drill trap in that long narrow tunnel. There are power-ups that seem to either be guarded by Sumatrans and Met turrets, or are just straight up hidden. And near the end of the stage, there are jet bombs and missiles everywhere. I understand that Mega Man stages have hazards, but this place is really overly trapped. But let's compare this to the famous Viet Cong tunnel systems. Specifically called the Cu Chi tunnels, this 120-mile underground system was created in the 1940s while the Vietnamese warred against the French for independence. Entrances to the tunnels were incredibly narrow. Looks about right. And were usually in close proximity to hidden punji stick traps. Yep, that looks about right too. Within the system were bomb shelters, hospital, ordnance factories, check, and even living quarters that were no bigger than 6 feet high and 4 feet wide. Not exactly the best arrangement. There were also several hidden caches of weapons and supplies hidden in the tunnels. And there we go. Last but not least is the big guy himself. While I would argue that Napalm Man doesn't actually use any napalm to speak of, just the name alone stirs controversy. Napalm isn't a simple explosive as the ability would infer. It's an incredibly flammable, incredibly sticky compound that doesn't come off skin or clothing and just torches you alive. It wasn't just used for tactical means either during the Vietnam War. It was used to psychologically break the people of Vietnam. Kim Phuc, a survivor of the compound known from a famous war photo, said it was the most terrible pain you could imagine. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Napalm generates temperatures of 800 to 1,200 degrees Celsius. The only reason she survived is that she shed her napalm-covered clothes before it engulfed her skin. International law doesn't prohibit the use of napalm on military targets, but in 1980, the United Nations Convention on Certain Conventional Weapons banned its use on civilians. Interestingly enough, the US delayed signing that into agreement until President Obama's first day in office. Wow. So yeah, I can easily see why this stage and character design would be offensive to the Vietnamese, if not a lot of people. As much trash as localizers get for neutering games, it's important to keep in mind just how easy a single small thing could create unrest in an entire country. But that's all I've got for this bolt of culture shock. I hope to see you next time. But until then, this is Gaijin Goomba signing out.